Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Coco and this is Yoga Flow Coco. I'm really excited to have you all here today because we're going to be doing a grounding sequence to start this year off on the right footing. No pun intended. We're going to be getting into a couple of grounding techniques and a quick yoga flow sequence that specifically is around grounding and getting back into the flow state, if you will. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So lay out your yoga mat and get into some comfy clothing or some gym clothing. We're going to go ahead and jump into some poses. All right, so we're just going to start off at the end of the mat here. Going to raise our arms up, inhale. Exhale, forward, fold down. Bend the knees here slightly if it is too tight on your hamstrings. We're going to walk our hands up towards the front of the mat into upward facing dog. Bring your head down between our arms. Bend the knees slightly here if you need to, pressing down on the tiptoes. Trying to press down with your heels if possible here as well. Take a couple breaths here. Perfect. Now we're going to just roll back up to our tiptoes, bring our knees down, flatten our feet here. Shoulders stacked over the hands, shoulder distance apart, legs hip distance apart, tabletop position. Try to straighten the back here if possible. Gaze downward, bring the pelvis up. Inhale, exhale. Next, we're going to touch our toes together. So bring the toes together. Spread the knees just a bit here. Bring our hips back, stretching our arms forward, reaching forward towards the mat. Bring your head down to child's pose. Take a couple breaths here. All right, on our inhale, we're going to bring ourselves up, back into tabletop position. Bring our hands back a little bit, separate the feet. Hands stacked right below the shoulders. Knees stacked right below the hips. Straighten the back. Gaze down, back to tabletop position. Now we're going to take a couple of cat-cow poses here. So on the first inhale, we're going to round the back, bring the pelvis forward, or up, I should say. Inhale, up. Exhale, bring the pelvis down. Bring the head up, looking forward to cat pose. We're going to do this for a couple of rounds here. Getting our good spine stretch. Making sure we're engaging the pelvis, making sure we're moving the pelvis up and down as necessary with each inhale and exhale. All right, perfect. On our next inhale, we're going to bring ourselves up, curl the toes under, lift the knees up into downward facing dog. Head down below the arms, between the arms, I should say, pressing the heels down. Inhale, exhale. Perfect. Now we're going to just hop the feet forward, upward, towards the front of the mat, or walk them up towards the front of the mat. Tent the fingertips here. I'm going to do a nice forward fold. You can bend the knees slightly here as well. And take a couple breaths here. Next, we're going to sweep the arms up. Prayers, hands, and mountain pose. You're going to just have the hands, palms facing forward. Inhale, exhale. Really grounding by the feet here, pressing the toes down to the mat. Facing forward, crown pulling upward. Make sure we're intentional with all of our movements. grounding ourselves down towards the mat. Inhale, we're going to sweep the arms up. Exhale, forward fold, hands sweeping towards the front. Inhale, halfway lift, straightening the back here, parallel to the mat. Inhale, forward fold. Bring your hands down to the mat. Step the left leg back, then the right leg back into a plank position. And we're going to bring our knees down, flatten our toes down to the mat. Making sure that we're in tabletop position here. Hips stacked or knees stacked right below the hips. Hands stacked right below the shoulders. Then we're going to bring ourselves back and just stretch here, reaching towards the front of the mat. Inhale and exhale down. Bring our head down. And this is kind of a modified child's pose here. You can also feel free to bring the toes together, just sitting down on our heels as far down as we can get, as comfortable as it is. Feel free to straighten the back here as much as possible, ensuring you're elongating the spine, that way you're not rounding the back. I'm going to take a couple breaths here. We're going to bring ourselves back up, pushing by our hands, tabletop position. Take a deep breath here. Exhale. All right, from here we're going to bring ourselves back. Instead of putting our head down on the floor, we're just going to walk our hands back, sitting down on the heels of our feet. Going to bring our legs forward towards the front of the mat into a seated position. Going to sit here at easy seat just for a moment. Feel free to add a block here as well if you need to bring your pelvis up a little bit. Ensuring you're elongating the spine. You can have your hands, palms facing up or down. Any intentional movement, ensuring you're grounding, sitting on your sit bones, engaging your sit bones on the mat. Crown of the head up. I'm going to take a couple breaths here. Awesome. We're going to take our left leg, elongate that out, and then our right leg. We're just going to extend our legs here. And if this is too much for you, feel free to bend your knees slightly. I'm going to just place our hands on our thighs, top of our thighs right now. Then we're going to go ahead and start stretching forward slowly. If you have back problems here, feel free to just stop at the shins. If you're able to go a little bit further, try to reach for your toes if possible, or your heels. The sides of your heels is also good. And you're going to bring our head down towards your knees. Inhale and exhale. It's just a seated forward fold. Really easy, making sure we're just grounding our bodies here, being intentional with every movement where we can. Ensuring that we're not rounding the back too much, trying to elongate, reaching our shoulders forward, making sure we're pulling it back rather than retracting our muscles, rounding our shoulders outward rather than inward. If this is too much for your lower back, feel free to stop right at your shins, trying to pull your head down as much as possible, but don't pull and strain your back here. Just being careful. Easing into the flow. And take a couple more breaths here. And I'm going to lift ourselves up slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae. I have a couple back problems myself, so I got to be easy on this. Now we're going to straighten our back here, crown of the head up. Then we're going to take our left leg, if you're mirroring me. And then we're going to just bend our knee, flattening our foot down to the ground. Then we're going to take our foot across the right knee. We're going to take our right hand across the left knee, bringing our left hand behind us into a quick twist, nice seated twist, if you will. Take a couple breaths here. Feel free to also pull at your hip a little bit, or stretching the hip muscle a little bit more by pushing at your left knee with your right arm, ensuring you're also keeping the crown of your head up, and then gazing as far back as you can, potentially right behind you if possible. Getting that nice hip stretch in here. A couple more breaths. All right, we're going to just switch sides. So switching the other way around, take your left leg over your right leg, bending at your knee, taking your left hand, pushing at your right knee, taking your left hand right behind you, and then just turning, gazing backward behind you. Inhale and exhale. Stay here for just a couple seconds. All right, we're going to release our legs back down to the mat of the floor, toes pointing upward, hands to the side. And we're going to take one more forward fold here. Inhale and exhale. All right, release. Then we're going to I'm going to adjust myself on the mat a little bit, making myself a little bit more centered towards the mat, so that way I'm laying down on the mat when I do this. We're just going to lay back, hold on to your hips when doing this, so that way you can maintain balance. We're going to get our core strength muscles up here. So slowly lean back, also elongating your arms here. And just fall back to the mat, gazing up at the ceiling. We're going to just relax here by placing our palms upward, both hands at the side of us, kind of releasing everything here. We're going to end this as a quick Savasana, a couple breaths, closing our eyes, releasing our gaze, softening our breath, releasing the tongue from the roof of the mouth, relaxing our jaw, relaxing our facial muscles, relaxing our shoulders down to the mat. Really focus on your breath here, but also just kind of releasing and letting go any tension, any stress from the day. Allowing yourself to just be. Let's stay here for a couple moments. Here's when you want to set an intention for the day or evening, whatever time zone you're in, whatever time frame you're in. Remember, time is a construct anyway. Relax your arms, your shoulders, your hands, your forearms. You're grounding yourself in the mat. Feel your pelvis drop down to the ground as well, fully. Relax your legs, your feet. Your eyelids. Really think about, what does grounding mean to you? Be intentional. release. All right. Wiggle your fingertips slightly here, just to bring the blood flow back. Wiggle your toes. All right, we're going to take our left leg, bend at the knee, flatten the foot down to the ground. Same thing with our right foot, bend the knee. Feel free to open your eyes here, flutter them open if you need to. Kind of awaken the muscles here again. And we're going to bring our knees to the chest, hugging our knees to the chest. Feel free to rock here, just to give your lower back a nice massage here on the mat. Awakening the body slowly but surely. You can keep your eyes closed or open them. Up to you. Alright. I'm going to release our hands, release the feet back down to the mat. We're going to press our hands down to the mat on the sides of us, bring ourselves back up into a seated position. Alright. Hands to the knees, palms facing upward or down, or even thumb to middle finger or index finger, depending on your style. I'm going to take one quick deep breath here. Slowly release. Hands to heart center. Namaste. Thank you all for joining today's session. I hope you all enjoyed this beautiful grounding session. And if you did, be sure to subscribe to this channel and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Namaste.